The question is, are Griffin doing X plus Yuumi, or are they taking the Xayah Rakan here? The Elise Yuumi was last time.
Man.
Is it a rollback of exactly game one? It's Rakan instead, okay.
Aha! It's
That's
not.
what I expected.
Yeah. If we would have seen another Poppy Garen Yuumi, then it would have been GG go next year. But they're trying something different.
I've cast that final already. It doesn't end well for Griffin, so I'm okay with there being a pivot here. I wonder if the Xayah will be contested on the IG side. Very often a first pick, and you accept if Rakan is dropped, but this time giving Lehends the reins, and it seems like IG happy enough to leave it through. Could just be the North Kaisa here if they want it, or potentially go down another avenue.
Okay, you know that Nautilus and Leona are the likely picks into Rakan. You know Rakan is support, not a flexible champion in that regard. Those days have long passed. But are they more worried about getting a jungler or something else? They're going to leave the Qiyana as flexible in jungle mid-top, and instead Morgana comes through instead, no longer playing the hard engage support, but someone a little bit safer.
Pretty conventional answer to Rakan in laning phase, and a pioneered the Kate Morgana a long time ago against Xayah Rakan. Xayah Rakan will be locked in here. You would have to imagine. We'll see how Griffin want to shape this draft. They have the first pick in the second round. Remember, they blind picked the Gnar, and the Yasuo kind of undid Gnar at basically every point. Even earlier than we forecast, the Yasuo was way ahead. So let's see how they sculpt the second round, because I feel like the first game didn't give them too many inroads back.
And there's a lot they can do flexibility-wise with these bans. I would actually hope to see a Kayle ban, since Griffin doesn't want to get out late-gamed again, in my opinion.
Kayle Vlad maybe is the big late-game powerhouse bans. You could see it, I guess.
Yeah.
Fiora instead. That makes me think that he's going towards something a bit
Beefy
tankier.
boy. I think a beefy boy is
Sion,
incoming.
I know is one thing you brought up, Papa. 11 plays in the spring split, 0 in summer. That is a possibility. They want to say, you know what, Sword, you're on a hard tank. We're going to go straight up team fights and get a beef wall that can keep Viper alive. The problem with last game that I saw, that Viper just couldn't keep himself alive against everyone else diving him. A Sion or something like that could help.
And the only tonic to that is a threat from mid lane, right? It can't be all Viper, it feels like, for Griffin to win this series. Needs a backup. They're actually going to invest in a jungle ban here. So Vlad left open. We already mentioned the Kayle. Left open could be selected, I guess, by the side of Griffin. But
yeah.
The Olaf ban is some Ning comfort, and yet don't know if it was actually a contested pick.
Yeah, I can understand it because Invictus Gaming has gone with what looks like fairly comfortable picks thus far, and Griffin doesn't want to give him something to potentially run through the Olaf. If we see the Sion...
Bring it back, baby! Yeah.
What was that record on Sion?
10-1 career on the Sion. He's bringing it back. No games played in summer. Very good train conductor. He's able to use that unstoppable onslaught and initiate well. They're going to ultra old comfort. Have to feel like a carry for Chovy will round it out.
This could also be a Chovy Sion.
Please no. Please
it
no.
could be.
3 tanks, Jack. Don't do this to me. It could happen.
It could be.
It could be.
It could happen.
Well, Vladimir. All right, they have time. They're going to go for the lead, and they are going to move the Qiyana back over to one of the lanes. Likely goes to Rookie in mid. Conspicuously, a lot of junglers were left up. The Gragas gone, the Elise taken. With the Olaf ban, Lee Sin gets to be back in for comfort.
So what would the top lane champion be in this
Vlad.
draft?
It's got to be Vlad.
It makes the most sense, and it will be there. Klepto Vlad against Sion is what's being threatened, so maybe the flex you talked about is needed, and yet, then Chovy's on a mid lane tank. One more time. Here's the final pick. It will be the Kayle, so they will be playing Kayle, but you have to feel like that's more likely to be a Chovy Kayle based on reputation, and yet, right now, nominally, it's going to be a Sword Kayle.
Well, we can see they can swap again at 20 seconds, and they'll play the mind games best they can. I can see merit to either side. I agree. I want to see Chovy be someone who gets to be the carry, gets to be a big deal, but matchup-wise, I mean, Infinite Armor Sion can just face tank the Qiyana forever, and, you know, maybe that works out okay.
Jack, rub away that smile you've got on your face.
I don't think they're trading Papasmithy. I think it's a Sion because they don't want to play a squishy champion into Qiyana.
There it is.
Which is also why they did Poppy in the early games. Their Rookie is consistently playing Assassins, and Chovy saying, okay, I'm not going to let you kill me. It's worked in lane and failed in the game.
Well, we'll see what the engages look like here. 3 tank games here for Chovy. Galio, I guess half of one did go pro belt and some AP, but Sword, this is the most pressure on him. It's been steadily ramping up and increasing. It was the Gnar blind pick. Okay, you got counter pick. That's too bad. All right, early game Jace went well against the Kayle. Now he is the Kayle. He's got to somehow be one of the big late game carries here for Griffin.
His performance on Akali did impress us earlier in the tournament, but we just got the tutorial on Kayle from TheShy in game number 2. Those are some pretty big shoes to try to fill.
Do want to bring up, I think the engage tools are much easier on the Griffin side. A Sion as well as a Rakan makes it a lot easier to get in. There are no hard tanks on the side of Invictus Gaming. Elise can lead the way. A Morgana binding can do a little bit in a pinch, but that might be a bit more difficult here. This will be certainly a differently shaped game, and we'll see here in game 3, up against it all. A reverse sweep must happen for Griffin if they want to stay alive, or IG sweep their way into the semis, looking for their second straight world championship. Onto the Rift we go, and we'll see how they play this one out.
And even though Griffin made the tweak of throwing Kayle in the top lane, this composition looks very similar to the style they have played in their first 2 defeats. They need to play heavily around and through Viper and Lehends. Chovy is going to try and neutralize Rookie in the mid lane, and they're going to have to play maybe even perfect League of Legends, because I'm looking at IG scaling and how well they can find flanks and how experienced they are and how good they've been playing this series. It feels to me like the odds are just stacked against Griffin in this one.
And the Sion mid-comps were pretty big, I think, in spring of last year. I remember Kingzone being really strong with BDD on the Sion, but those were prey pop-off games on Kog'Maw, really getting advantages at 1-2 items. The theory here is that Sion can initiate from the mid lane easier than the Galio. He'll rush in, and if Viper has the same start, theoretically it's easier for him to knock down the dominoes, but not as reliable, I feel like, Xayah, compared to someone who can outrange like Kog'Maw to back up the Sion dive.
Small point I want to bring up as we get in laning phases. The keystone choices of the 2 top laners, TheShy, worried about team fight power overall. Phase Rush good at chasing things down, but the Klepto for Sword trying to get items in the inventory as soon as possible. So that is one thing to track as they both scale up over time.
And I think between the Nogri and TheShy debate about Vladimir, TheShy almost always goes with the phase rush, since he's looking to get his gold basically by smashing the opponent, and then actually tries to teamfight much earlier, and that's when phase rush is going to be much more valuable than Kleptomancy. So not too surprised to see those keystones, even though it is good to point out.
Baolan walks back, doesn't get rooted by the feathers. Gonna stay alive here under this one, and waiting for level 2 to come out. That's gonna be in 1 minion. There it is, and it's gonna be simply Baolan walking over to ward and make sure they can try to track Tarzan over there. But Elise is already done with that bottom side jungle, so this ward will see, yes, indeed, blue is gone, yes, Gromp is gone. Okay, we know the vague pathing. She's probably top side now, unless she invaded the red buff, but I believe they have a ward to know that's not happening.
Yeah, Baolan has the push that puts down the ward. Probably expected this to be a bot side game from the jungler, because ganking for Kayle, 3-6, not very valuable, and even then, not all combinations will work. Combination of Sion and Elise will be a very powerful roaming tool once level 6 is hit, so you definitely want bot side river control as Chovy where possible. Speaking of Chovy, taking some trades.
Taking some trades, sadly missed the cannon minion there, but still trying to push on in, and you can see the Rookie has to play fairly back into this one. 4 CS on the map means it's going to be a very small CS lead. Nice Black Shield, getting away from that one, no problem. JackeyLove feels safe.
Yep, that's how you want to play the matchup. Lehends actually unable to even get his Aftershock off on this Aftershock Rakan. It's something he definitely favors, where most of them end up going Guardian. So if more Black Shields happen like that, IG is going to be able to win those trades.
And in this game especially, I would have assumed Guardian, because if you get hit by the Dark Binding, you're not proccing Aftershock, and you are very, very squishy as Lehends. And he doesn't need to be a Flash Primary Engager with a Sion on the team. So it seems to me I'm a little bit surprised, but probably just going to be comfort and muscle memory that will bring that and make that the choice.
Yeah, even given a Guardian Shield, your teammate gets bound, pretty useful there as well. But again, as we're mentioning, not the play here. So we move on, and we have a fairly equal game in the super early. We can see a CS lead in top and mid here for Griffin, but the bottom lane still looking good for the Invictus Gaming side. That is the Morgana counter pick doing some work for you, of course. Makes it very hard to do anything as the Rakan. You get to just sort of ignore in a lot of cases. Now an attempted play. There's the root. There's a lot of damage. Both junglers coming out as well. Flash out from Chovy. Ignited. Not going to lay in the Q is Ning, and out they walk as the TP comes in for Sword and can't find anything with it.
Yeah, I think Tarzan's presence there was enough to get a flash out, so can see Sword ends up wasting a little bit of time with that teleport in. Not as bad as you would think, though, since he had, I believe, channeled that teleport from base, was on a reset already.
Sidestep was very impressive from Chovy on to the Cocoon. Most likely would have gone down there. Obviously not that tanky in the early game. Free items is the Sion.
Another good black shield, another jump back for Lehends, and the trades keep going back and forth as just getting to the side. JackeyLove not rooted out by this. Still pushing the waves in. One CS goes with the W landing, and now no cooldowns available, but no mana available. Not going to find the engage either.
That's a spot for the Sion.
Chovy is doing the flanks.
Depending where the recall comes in, that Q can just land. JackeyLove could be hit right here. Going to be slowed at the very least, but is there an engage? Channels the Q. Black shield comes in. Cocoon's not going to land, of course, either. Forcing the flash to the Baolan, but how can JackeyLove go anywhere? Has the flash, but no heal. Waves pushed in.
He can't. He's
Waves
dead.
Goodbye. The dances come in. The knockup is there. Make sure the kill goes over. That's going to be claimed. Tarzan says, I want the 400 gold.
Yeah, that was just an executed dive by Griffin, but now Sword has to survive.
TheShy pulls aggro, takes turret shot number 1, takes turret shot number 2. He's going to pool the third, and that's going to be enough damage as they drop aggro. Rookie has to flash, but they played it just right. Traded for the Ocean Drake, but I got to say, all in all, Griffin favored.
More objectives on the bot side make it easier for it to be Griffin favored. And if they can actually turn this into control wards in the river, you can unstoppable onslaught your way to repeat ganks if ever Baolan and JackeyLove walk past the middle point of the lane. Still, IG do capitalize on the best thing they can get, which is the counter kill top.
It actually means so much over there, of course, as well. You look at the fact that TP was already down. That's 2 waves denied to the turret, plus the plate taken. This is an actually huge lead in the top side for TheShy over Sword.
And let's watch this dive one more time. You can see Chovy just forces a lot of stuff. The black shield is out, the heal is out, and then they say, okay, Baolan, that's the right call to just abandon. Otherwise, you're going to get the double kill. And Jackie actually does a decent job of not making it super easy for Viper to be able to get that kill, but ends up going over to Tarzan.
I thought you were going to say decent job of emote canceling, and I was like, yeah, I agree. He looked pretty good
Great
there, very
mechanics.
dapper. This is really nicely done by TheShy. Obviously, just pulls the last turret shot that's going to kill him. Easy to pick up the kill, but it does actually end up with the slow there, using Rookie's flash.
Ooh, and this is actually fascinating that Rookie has swapped out of that lane and gone top against Kayle, potentially having a little bit more kill pressure, because I was expecting Griffin to just repeat dives on bottom lane over and over again, and they won't be able to do that if Chovy matches top lane. I don't think Griffin should be matching this.
I mean, this is what they went the matchups for. This is why Chovy took the champions. They want to play armor stack Sion into Rookie's Qiyana. They don't want to give Vlad the free lane against his one, so it's about who can swap when fast enough. Tarzan looking at top side as well. They're going to find some stuns, but traded back.
Convenient.
Supreme display of talent, but they got to find the slow. Not the stun, though. Could not find the knock. It means no Cocoon lands.
Rookie plays that really well, and still the unselfish decision, Phreak, to draw the roaming Sion top side does relieve pressure from the other lane, so they still get something from this, even though it is armor stacking against flat pen stacking.
I do have to question Griffin's choices there, though, because getting a kill on Chovy will not win them this game.
No.
Getting kills for Viper, breaking that bottom turret, advancing the game in that way will make it possible. So what IG has done here by pulling Chovy top and Tarzan with them is they've completely relieved the pressure on the bottom side where there's a flashless Morgana, a healless Kaisa, and unless Griffin finds a way to get back to that bot side pressure, I feel like IG is going to be very comfortable.
Exactly. Rookie will farm it out, and from there, Chovy will only be a Sion rather than someone who can act as that early game playmaker like his very deep behind enemy lines dive through.
Really fortunate situation here for Rookie. Thankfully being on the blue team, playing top side means you're still by your blue buff and gets to get that one handed over no problem. That could have been different in an alternate universe, but works out positively for him. 300 gold lead is Invictus Gaming's stake in this game. Griffin with the Ocean, though, should have some small bits going back toward them. Arguably a slightly better state for them overall, and we wait to see what comes through as, again, that Sion being on the far side, not necessarily optimal. Looks like swaps have come in. No, recalls come in, but he goes back to the same lane. And yeah, it's this interesting holding pattern where, again, I agree, IG like that Sion's far away, and Griffin like what their matchups are.
Right. And TheShy will continue scaling on this Vladimir. Rookie actually has a chance to make a flank play happen here if Sword pushes up too far.
Rookie roaming, gonna find at least the root. That's gonna force the ult out. Now, is there an extra dive? Not just yet. The flash didn't land the E. TheShy doesn't get the damage out. That slow was so important, but doesn't get it.
A millimeter short mechanical misplay from TheShy there means they don't pick up the kill. Sword didn't have summoners, so I see why they tried the play, but it doesn't bear any fruit.
This is where we'll get to see if IG can really pull back on some of that World Championship experience. I think the lane swap is part of that, going for it at this stage in the game, seeing the way Griffin's responding to it, and now I feel like kind of wrestling some control of the game back for themselves. Definitely want to be able to close out this 3-0 as the road to victory for Griffin has, I think, become fairly murky now with Sion on top.
Unless Viper can really take over, has decent farm, has that assist, I believe got some plate gold, so you know, you might hit your spikes first, and Viper can maybe be your team fighter at 15 minutes or so. They got the first break, next one spawning in 40 seconds. Another play up in this mid lane. Sword does not have the ultimate, not even close.
Wow.
Ning actually a straight up solo kill. Laner's optional for Ning.
Was as the Qiyana was coming mid, but Ning able to chase down the kick, and there's just a Vamp Scepter and no more items. No, onto Sword, so he just straight up dies.
Yeah, and you can see now Chovy getting out of this situation towards mid lane because a Sword's still attackable. Whether he's top lane or mid lane, this was going to be IG's game plan. It's about what does Griffin do after that. And yeah, he procs Conqueror. Sure, Rookie is there to watch, but completely unnecessary as Sword was at the time flashless and ultless.
And if they continue to march to the beat of IG's drum, they will never see a repeat gank on bot side before summoners up. They're back now. They're choosing their timings here, and they're bringing and bending Griffin's will to theirs. And unfortunately for Griffin, it means it's not about what they're strong at. It's IG more keeping themselves even or better in the game.
And now they're going to try something with Rift Herald. Sword is bottom lane. TheShy will have to see if he runs straight towards the Rift Herald, because we've seen the first game break to a 3,000 gold lead for IG off of the Rift Herald fight. If Griffin wants to actually funnel gold towards the Xayah, securing Rift Herald is so pivotal for that.
It's going to be a tense moment. A little bit of damage comes through. Baolan farms some gold as JackeyLove and Viper score out from the top side, but this still feels a little Viper favor. The level lead certainly part of that one as they come back down to the river. Scuttle taken for them as well. Tarzan's here. Control ward's in the way to get rid of all the vision. And JackeyLove just farming under his turret, waiting to scale up and turn over the Muramana.
And have river control here, but only tentatively, and they will not be recreating their game one overforce, tanking the Rift Herald. Chovy has control of the river entrance here, so we'll spot Qiyana if she chooses to come in. Let's see if Griffin can pick up this Rift Herald.
Baolan was on a reset, so IG.
Ooh, almost. Ning walked through a ward, didn't know was there, but they couldn't find the CC. But still looking for the potential fight. Only 3, 4 for IG. 4 for Griffin. TP means all 5. Here comes the channeled Sion. Doesn't land that one there. Not much of a stun, as Chovy will be stunned, but is the fight good enough? Kaisa in the back line still knocked up, though. Kayle's over the top, and Griffin have spread their wings. They're going to knock down 3 already. TheShy, forced to run away, stays alive, but a giant bite taken out of IG.
How do you land a full channel Sion Q on 3 people as IG tried to collapse through? That's exactly the fight that Griffin needed to find to stay in this series.
And it took 2 of their unsung heroes. First, Lehends interrupting the Kaisa on her killer instinct into Chovy, stepping into brush, unwarded by IG, and getting that 4-man knockup. That means they will get the Rift Herald, and this time they don't play with their food around the Rift Herald and their health bars. They actually make the right turn and pick up the kills.
In a smart play, they need the instant summon if they want to cash in on the plates. Plates drop in 30 seconds, and there's the pop, and there we're going to get a lot of gold into Viper, just like last game. Right, kill in the mix. He's going to get some turret plates here as well. Lehends wants to share some of the gold, steals a couple plates away. He's going to share for his turret gold. Maybe didn't need to do that, but regardless, a lot of money on the table. Griffin up 2,500.
They saw the Kaisa and they were worried that they wouldn't actually get all the plates on that push, so I think that's the reason why he overstayed. I don't think it was the greed for the gold, but regardless, never great to not pick up the solo gold there. Ning will answer on the bot side with a Cloud Drake. Griffin needed a moment like that. It felt like their first kind of real counter punch through the course of this second and third game.
Well, the items are coming through. That's an Essence Reaper done. Berserker's Greaves done. Pretty solid state here for this Xayah. We're seeing the components come through across the map, and another good early game for Griffin.
And the big thing here is they actually avoided Rookie's damage. The ult found completely no one. So yes, Rookie lands the root, but most of his burst is completely gone. You noted the interrupt, you noted the kill ult. That was a 5-man Sion Q.
4+1.
Lord.
4+1. That was the real thing that turned the fight here. Really good job on Lehends to interrupt what felt like another assassination mission for Kaisa in game number 2. And 1,866 damage from Sion, second most of anyone in the fight.
Yeah, really impressive stuff. The Kayle ult was in a good spot as well. Kept the teammate alive, landed probably 4 with the explosion. So good early damage coming through. Beautiful stuff out of the Griffin's side. The team that just could not win the important matches might do so here. They've got to win 3 straight if they want to move on. Looking very good in this first one they need.
Yeah, the big question for me is how is Sword's late game Kayle going to stack up to what we saw from TheShy in game 2? The thing that's up against him was Jace in game 2. That's not Vladimir. Vladimir is so much stronger. It's also not TheShy's Vladimir with how we've seen him pop off in some of these fights. So yes, I agree this is better than Griffin being down 2,000 gold for sure. But watching how they need to kind of use this tanky Sion to push IG further and further back and not let the Vladimir get to that late game combo initiation with Qiyana, since we've seen IG kind of just have experience throughout the mid and late game. Griffin needs to continue to play clean.
We've certainly seen Kayle's this tournament that, mid to late game provided a great Kayle ultimate, but weren't putting out anywhere near the standing damage that we saw from TheShy last game. Chovy trying to zone JackeyLove away from the turret here, so very standard play, but like you're saying, Jatt, can't afford for Griffin to be a one-threat comp with utility of different types from their other members. They do need those secondary threats, and that should be Sword in game number 3.
Well, and it's so far so good as we wait and look at them push forward. Infernal Dragon spawns in about 2.5 minutes. That's a likely fight in the works, and so far the item spike's going to look pretty good for Griffin on this one. They've got a front line, they've got a back line. We'll wait to see what comes through as JackeyLove is going to knock down some more minions, and that plate, that turret, I should say, stays alive at about 1/5.
Resets happen here. Rookie picks up waves. When Chovy previously played the mid lane Sion, it was actually a more AD heavy build, like Tiamat into Titanic into Sterix. This is full tank, very much going to be strongest around kind of 1-2 item completions to really be a frontliner that no one can really deal with, while Manamune and other abilities are being charged up. Griffin have been trying to find a way to take this turret for a while now, but you can see actually difficult to close it up.
Yeah, and you can see that Chovy is able to get some jungle control just by being so healthy as the Sion. It's almost a waste of time for IG to send one person towards him. And I do feel like we are in that holding pattern until the Infernal Drake spawns. But
I don't know about that.
Well,
Flashes in, a lot of damage
Never
here.
mind.
Sword's going to be in danger. When's the ult come out? Pops it there. Rookie going to find the stun, and now he's going to get kicked back in. The Q is going to land. The kill comes through. 3v1, and there is no counter push available yet to Griffin.
Yeah, if Griffin can't get the mid turret off of that, that would be disappointing, because if IG does send people bot, they're breaking the holding pattern and actually letting Griffin get that mid lane turret.
And is that going to be IG saying, look, the turret's going to go down the next wave, let's make a play elsewhere? Or is it an oversight? Because now, before Baron gets onto the Rift, they once again have mid lane turret down. If that can actually allow them to get the Baron that has really frustrated and thwarted them so far on their Baron and Rift Herald setups, there'll be potentially a later high cost to pay. For now, at least, it's a kill.
Yeah,
feel good as IG.
An equal trade in gold. They didn't actually push in for the bottom turret themselves, so that is a bit of map pressure in Griffin's favor with mid crack. You can see Viper push down this wave. JackeyLove will pick up the rest of it afterwards, and we will wait the 30 seconds that it requires for this Infernal Drake to spawn.
So let's think about how this fight would play out if IG was trying to contest it, because they'd want to get Rookie in position to flank, and you can clearly see on the mini-map, they're not interested in contesting this. I think IG is saying, okay, if we lose another early 5v5, that's how we actually lose the game. Let's instead trade because we are weaker. So it looks like you're going to trade outer turrets in both the top and the bot lane and likely just concede the Dragon over since Rookie doesn't even have teleport. They're very clearly saying that they can't do anything. And instead of taking the Infernal, Griffin's looking for a play bot.
And TheShy's going to try to build some space out of this one as he channels a bunch of the spells, knocks down most of the minions, will keep that turret alive. They can now go back to the Infernal. That should be reasonably safe. Again, as you mentioned, Rookie cannot join the fight. A 5v4 is a pretty free one. So different sides, outer turrets are traded back and forth. A bit of farm goes over to the IG side. A bit of farm goes over to the Griffin side. And now this bottom jungle is Griffin favorite as well. Can Ning find the Q? He's not going to quite get it. Jumps back to his teammate. Good smite out there for Tarzan. Over the blast plant, over towards the Infernal Drake. Still doesn't seem like that can be contested. So a fairly equal trade of sided objectives, but the neutral one goes towards Griffin as the Infernal is taken.
Yeah, the map reset advantage is what Rookie gets. He spots Chovy as he rotates back towards the mid lane. Spawning in 5 seconds. I'll get some control around it. Very early in the piece, like you mentioned, Jatt is up. TheShy's caught.
Found out in 1v3. The stuns keeps getting layered, and he's going to go down. A killing spree for Tarzan. Griffin definitely finding the picks here.
And this is really hopeful for Griffin. They've had gold leads in both games 1 and 2. It's been a question of whether or not they're able to hold out. And after game 2, everyone calls back to all of the best of 5s that Griffin has played pretty much in their history and how they're not good in the best of 5s. And once they go 0-2, they kind of just tilt. So the fact that they haven't tilted in the first 20 minutes of this game does leave the hope. But the question still remains, can they close? IG has been pesky this series. They've stuck around in these games, and then they've waited for a Griffin mistake to pounce. That's going to kind of have to happen again for IG to win this series in this game.
Yeah, their wins are averaging at about 40 minutes in. If this goes the way of the previous 2, we've got 10, 15, 20 minutes still to play, and IG find the late game team fights. The Baron setups keep going to them. I think they're like 5-1 in Barons or something absurd so far in this series. They're doing a lot with this one as JackeyLove keeps knocking down the minions and waiting for the next thing to do as they just keep scaling on up. The Rage Blade is done, but double items here for Viper, right? I.e. Essence Reaver, he's very powerful.
But I think the game really starts to turn when finally IG get these outer turrets down, because the way they want to play fights is to flank from 2 directions on Qiyana and Vladimir, and there just is no items to deal with that much flat pen. And on both sides, it's flat pen magic damage. It's also going to be lethality, double stacked onto the Qiyana. Do you go for a more and then have to also perfectly time against Qiyana's damage? There's really no correct way for Viper to build. Maybe a stopwatch needs to come out as next item. And as the map gets more wide with more different angles to attack from, that's where Griffin will find it really hard to set up for the simple to execute fights they want.
But that's going to be one of the challenges for Griffin. As Rookie waits in the brush.
Oh, it's going to come across, but not find the stun. Kill it over the time. It's a flash away, but he's going to go down.
Can't do that if you're up against the Kayle. Sword and Tarzan buddying up. Very important right there.
Also wasn't that close to the wall either, so I think in general, Rookie thought he was going to get a kill to once again buy some times. Maybe find a way for Vladimir to get finally that bot lane out of turret. It doesn't happen, and it's another delay thwarted by Griffin.
And that's a good word in thwarted, because Griffin needs to thwart IG from getting any outer turrets. If they do that, then they might be able to keep control of this game.
A little bit of fear in the heart of Chovy there. Said, okay, I'm going to ult backwards. Don't want to get bound up. Don't want to get caught. They can keep playing the map right here. The game state, 3,000 gold lead for Griffin and better Drakes overall. Looking to push down, take over this top river. There are some wards over the wall, though. They can only clear so much of this vision until the sweepers come back from cooldown, and they're not up yet. There it is. Pop down a control ward, and they'll knock down these wards.
In the Australian dictionary, we coined, I think, 10 years ago, bounce back ability. And that's what I think IG will show here. They will keep trying the flank, because they have to. That's how the comp works. They're able to disregard the last couple of flanks. First, TheShy being caught, then Rookie being caught. We will see that again and again. It just takes one, Jatt. And if they get the right connection, specifically on that Hemo Plague, the cleanup is real.
Is that all one word?
Yeah, bounce back ability. You can look it up.
That's
It's
3
basically
words.
German.
Would Papa lie to you? No.
I don't know about that.
Hey.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right, well, we'll see if the bounce back ability is going to be there. Right now, it's Lehends pushing forward, getting a bit of poke, getting rid of the wards. Griffin are strangling out the vision. It's going to take some pretty big plays from IG to take this river back. Right now, it's just dotted with a million wards. They're all red.
What is it actually getting, Griffin? They're spotting the enemy, but again, their agenda is, okay, we got the outer turrets, we want more. the more it doesn't really seem on the menu. They do have some level of mid priority when it comes to this Infernal spawn, but IG also have a lot of dark areas to potentially flank from. So yes, Griffin are handedly in control of the specific timing in the game, but it doesn't necessarily threaten the sort of objectives you need to deal a death knell to the side of IG.
And Griffin still do have a level 16 Kayle on the way, but it's 60 CS down, level 16 Kayle. And items do matter. Kayle's not what she was on release of the rework, where you just hit level 16 and suddenly you're god tier powerful. You do need the items and the ability to capitalize it on the way that TheShy did in game 2. But from the looks of it, to answer your question, Papasmithy, it looks like Griffin is just trying to keep their outer turrets as healthy as possible and focusing on the second Infernal rather than going for a pre-25-minute Baron.
Well, second Infernal started. Not a ton of ward control. You can see there's actually one trinket ward in the pit. The control ward that's aggressively in the jungle gets taken down as well. And Griffin say, okay, discretion, the better part of Valor. They'll back off. Shy, happy to front line, has to respect some of the engaged tools, but likely doesn't get bursted down without the entire squad being there. One more auto would kill it. The flash over, they're going to go for the play, but the Black Shield is already there. That's going to be big damage. Is it enough, though? Sword self-folds. Shy over the wall. That's a 1 for 0 so far, and it's a 2 for 0. The kickback down at Chovy, but that is the tank. He can walk away safely. Qiyana doesn't do a whole lot, and no one is going down. The recall is going to be safe. Griffin get the 2 for 0.
One of the most ridiculous 2 for 0s I think I've seen, where the whole team gets hit by all of Vladimir's spells because they can't hard engage on him, but still they win both of them. And now they've reset, and they're on the way for the Infernal.
Tarzan's going to feel safe. Chovy is pretty much invincible. 2,000 health on him. Can't find the knockup, but that means the team can come back down. 14 seconds still on TheShy. Has teleport, but this Drake will die before he ever shows up. Ning has smite, Ning has flash. He can save the go for the steal, and oh, it's not going to be stolen. Good job, Viper gets the damage across. No smite, I think from either side, actually, just the auto attacks come through.
Looks like a couple crits just hit the Infernal Drake right at the last second, so neither of them could get it. And now that both Infernals are off the board, the next step for Griffin will be around the Baron. They got the flash out of TheShy, and potentially that's who they're actually trying to pick at the start of these fights.
No stopwatch on TheShy either, so he will have to find an entry into a fight that wasn't as strained as the first one. If you notice here, he's the one that gets picked on to flash all in from Lehends. And yes, it's a wonderful connection, but between Chovy controlling one entrance, JackeyLove never gets to do any damage, and it's a really split fight from the side of IG.
And you could see Chovy was at the point there where he's kind of just a little unkillable until we get maybe yet another item onto JackeyLove. So he kind of single-handedly stopped Jackie and Rookie from entering that fight, even if the rest of Griffin took a long time to kill TheShy. And the bigger thing I think we've seen in this game is around Rookie's Qiyana. Rookie hasn't found a good Qiyana ultimate. He's missed twice in the river. He was unable to get those side lane picks. The game could turn on one good Qiyana ultimate, but for now, Griffin seem hyper-aware of where Rookie has been.
And again, I look at that last fight and I really feel that the turret's not being out, the outer turret still being up, means you have to be so much more telegraphed about your Qiyana Vlad flanks. That is still a thorn in the side of IG, and Griffin is keeping it square. They haven't found the game-breaking moment, but it's another positive one, picking up the Infernal.
The positives are very good. 3,500 gold lead, double Infernal up as well. You certainly expect them to win most team fights based on stats, but how you play it matters a lot as well, of course. You're seeing Viper dip down for some defensive options yet again. You see the Hex Drinker come in, needs to not be one-shot by TheShy. TheShy's build is not raw AP, right? It's some flat pen into with a proto belt early on, so that's actually a very big deal. The Hex Drinker is there because the one-shot's not quite going to be there.
And we still haven't seen Griffin take a medium lead like this into victory. They need to find a way to actually get this Baron.
Big damage. Sion over the top. Baolan might not have a good way out. Does have the flash, but where can he even go? One auto would kill him. And they're going to find the range. There's no way out for that one. Viper on a killing spree now. 9-3 on the scoreboard.
You'd think that this means Griffin pulls for Baron, but Rookie has been missing for about 30 seconds. He's going to hope to find the fight. I don't see IG giving up this Baron easily.
Sion is spotted in the bottom lane. They know he has teleport. They know he can join. And the ward's in the pit's going to keep them safe enough. Ning almost gets caught just barely. A ward hops away. Has flash if he needs it. Doesn't need to, though. Sion keeps pushing down to the bottom side. They're going to keep waiting for the respawn of Baolan.
I love the vision toggle here. Feels like guerrilla warfare being played by IG. Down a man. Baolan about to respawn.
And still waiting for where Rookie might be. They know he's not been spotted. They're expecting top jungle. You saw the Spiderling go into the brush. They know Rookie's behind somewhere. When will they find it? What's the play? Forward they go. They might have knocked him down. Puts on the pool, but is there enough damage? They're going to try. They ult over the top, and it's already a 2 for 0. Viper doesn't die, but one finally comes through. It's up to JackeyLove, but he gets stunned. Clutch from Tarzan, but Morgana can't find it either. Viper stays alive. That's the full pentakill when they needed it most.
Exactly what Viper has needed to do this series. He stands tall. Through the flank, he gets the pentakill, and finally, Griffin find their Baron.
It's not often you get a do-over as an early game fed Xayah, but 5 kills later, 8 on the board. They get the Baron that thwarted them last game, and maybe Griffin will still breathe in this best of 5.
Rookie was so close to being the superhero there. He waited in the red buff for a minute and a half to find this place. So watch what IG does. Shy walks forward. Again, they can't quite 100-0 him, which means he gets it down. And here comes Rookie.
Flashes over, and it's like a jump scare. He comes out from the backline, but just doesn't have the backup from JackeyLove.
But notice what Viper did in this fight. He utilized everything. He dodged the Qiyana ultimate with his ultimate. He used the stopwatch perfectly. He cleansed. His Hex Drinker popped. Every defensive tool he brought, he was able to use in this fight to pick up the Penta.
And now we get it from the pro view to really fully appreciate
Watch this reaction time. Oh.
0.1 of a second is enough. And remember, this was all with Chovy not there. He only gets there at the end to have the front row seat to the pentakill coming through from Viper.
Then the call was Baron, and now you can see the gold lead 7,000 with so much money in the pockets. And here comes the push now. Griffin looking to the bottom lane. It's going to be very hard for IG to stop this from happening. And Ocean Drake waiting to be taken when eventually they want to go back. But for now, it's take everything you can.
Sometimes the first win in the series is the hardest, and that has definitely been the case for Griffin. Finding gold leads in both the first 2 games, coming into this game 3 with a bad history in best of 5s, facing up against the defending world champions, needing to win 3 in a row. 1 would be the start, and they need to stay laser focused in this game now with Baron and an 8-kill Viper to finish it.
And let's hope that last year's quarterfinal between KT and IG, if there's any indication, this goes full 5. That will be what I think every neutral wants to be treated to here. Still have to close out this game, but this time it feels like really all the I's have been dotted, all the T's have been crossed, and now it's about breaking the base for Griffin.
Seems likely, but there is a bit of a defense here from Invictus Gaming. Keep it around, looking for their way. And JackeyLove takes some big poke, has to be respectful there. The turret's down below, well below 1/3. Griffin back into the mid lane. Chovy basically invincible, so he can easily shepherd those minions in, do a little bit of damage, walk back. I see I've pulled 2 over. That means we can push the bottom lane with 4. Big damage. They might kill him right here. TheShy just going to hold the pool. Knows they didn't go any farther. Walks away into that one. But that means an open hit, but that means that's going to fall down as well. That's going to be dropped. And Griffin have now cracked open the base for the first time all series. Gold lead growing.
They would hope for 2. They've warded very well in the jungle to try and make it so that Rookie can't find a flank initiation. Chovy's going to play very strong front, and you can see the caution with which Griffin is approaching this, not wanting to make that misstep.
Again, moving forward. Mid lane turret below 1/3 now as well, keeping the damage through. The minions still mostly alive. A couple more shots still coming in. One more auto would knock it down. The cannon will do it with 1 more. And now the second inhibitor is cracked. 18 seconds with the Baron buff. Just enough to maybe push in for the inhibitor. But IG, we know they can fight so well. The ultimates are available. But they're going to flinch. They're going to back off. Griffin knocked down 2 inhibitors with plenty of time to reset and do what they need on the map.
Very successful Baron buff power play. Better part of 3.5 to 4,000 gold. Picked up there in Viper, confident enough to frontline and pick up those auto attacks. Doesn't have the longest range team, so needs to be the one to do that. They'll take an Ocean, mostly just to get the Elder to spawn around the 38.5-minute mark, but seems like Griffin just going to get the top side pushing, then look for a way to close the game.
I think both teams played that Baron power play properly.
Sure.
You could see IG was hoping for a flank, but they knew a lost fight would also completely lose them the game. They still have a chance to now farm up 2 waves of super minions onto JackeyLove's Kaisa, and if they find 1 more, big opener from the Vladimir and the Qiyana. There's still a chance that JackeyLove takes this over, but as far as Griffin is concerned, it's about running the playbook now. They have 2 waves of super minions, and they're the 2 inhibitors that are furthest from the Baron pit. Those are the 2 that you want to have down, with Baron spawning in 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Standard playbook is push in the top lane, the only lane you don't have an inhibitor, but also the lane closest to Baron. Use the time to clean out any defensive vision around this area and put down your own. And then you start Baron, and the enemy, damned if they do, damned if they don't when it comes to contesting, because of those super minions, which you can see are still alive for multiple minutes based on the blue inhibitors timers in the bottom left corner.
And it's time to keep pushing right now. Griffin know with the 9,000 gold, they can take a lot right here and charge up the stun. Not going to find it, but Chovy, again, impervious to damage. Look how big that health bar is.
Minions do die a bit faster without Baron buff, as we're seeing here, but as soon as the supers crash and they see TheShy, they're going to be more willing to step up and hit, you would think.
Find the buy, and it just does not matter. That is not a pick that works very well. Rookie wants to find his way in, turns invisible, walks right back out, pulls out the cocoon. But that's it.
Trying to buy 1 more minion wave's worth of time to find this flank. TheShy has been well goaltended from fights this whole game. And a big adjustment for the side of Griffin on that front.
40% on the top inhibitor turret. New wave coming in right now. IG have their whole squad on the screen. Chovy's up to the side, so if there's a flash engage, there's a moment without the Sion there. It's just wave clear. The turret now about 1/4. Minions being shepherded in. They've got to defend the Nexus turret. They go for a little bit of backdoor damage. And now TheShy must move over and knock these down. Next wave comes in about 15 seconds.
I think Chovy's taking damage. It's hard to tell, honestly.
He's not.
Kaisa is one of the best tank shredders in the game, and it's a death cap AP Kaisa barely touching Chovy.
Moving forward now, they've got the minions there, and that's going to be another one knocked down. That is the turret gone. The inhibitor now laid open. Ning not knocked up, actually. Chovy, let's go a little early. That's going to be the attempt to kick back, though. Can they find Viper? But he gets the Kayle ult on top. It's already 1-for-0. Viper is still alive. It's a complete slaughter now. It's IG trying to stay up, but they are not going to do so. Rookie left alone without his team. He will run back to the fountain. He'll be sent back there in a body bag. A triple kill in for the Elise. That's the ace. That's the Nexus. And Griffin take the first step on the reverse sweep.
Griffin gonna make it a series. No 3-0 on this day, and our first best of 5 of the day. Viper especially with a bounce back performance after he mishandled his lead in game number 2. And suddenly, we might be on for a nice long bit of League of Legends today.
And Papasmithy, this was a gut check for Griffin. This was a massive gut check. They have had such failure in big best of 5s, making the summer finals in the LCK, always falling short, going up against the world champions, having misplays that cost them both games 1 and 2, putting Chovy back on a tank.
Yeah.
None of us asked for that.
No.
We were seeing the Sion, we said, throw it on sword, let Chovy carry. Did he carry on Sion?
A little bit.
He had a very strong Sion game, and they trusted the team. They trusted Viper, the guy who was 7-0 in game 2 on the same champion and then started dying. Made it to 8-0 in this game and never died. So Griffin is absolutely back in this series because I think the majority of our viewers and myself, I expected the sweep to happen, and they stood tall.